back to my channel, The Healing Heart. I'm Calvin, you're you, and let's go through this together. And today I've got a breakup story that someone's written into me, so we're going to go through that and see if we can help in any way we can. It's 2:30 in the morning, so how's that for dedication? That's why I'm having to speak a little bit quietly because my housemates are asleep. I've got a nice cup of chamomile tea here instead of the coconut water. Always good to keep the healthy stuff going into your body. All right. Firstly, I just want to just say a little bit about myself because there are a lot of breakup coaches on the net. I do have a degree in counselling and psychotherapy, but I've also been involved in helping people with breakups for about 9 years, and I've learnt quite a lot more in the field than I did at university because they don't really teach you about relationship dynamics and breakup strategies and that sort of thing. So let's get to the email and see what we can do, okay? He says, "Hi Calvin, I saw your YouTube channel and I would appreciate any advice you can give me on my situation. Thank you for choosing my channel. Thanks for writing in, and good on you. That's the first step. You're being proactive and seeking advice on your situation. My ex broke up with me a month ago. She told me that she needed space and time apart from each other so she can recover." Okay, well, so she needs time and space so she can recover. Well, look, sometimes it's not easy for the one doing the breaking up either, but it's certainly a different path to the person that's been broken up with. So you are also going to need a bit of time and space to get your head around things as well. And as far as getting back together, the sooner you can recover, the better your chances. The first week I messed up. I didn't entirely give her space. I tried texting her once in a while. So once in a while is that hopefully that's not every day, but also the widely accepted strategy that underlies all coaches' advice would be no contact. And when it comes to no contact, that sort of, I agree with some of the other coaches out there, which it actually means no reaching out, which means if they contact you, unless you really don't want that person back, then it's never really a good idea to just flat out ignore them, because ignoring someone isn't going to reconcile a relationship. There has to be communication, and there has to be, things that are discussed or worked on, some interaction, but the contact is generally needs to come from the person who made the decision to call it off. So no contact essentially means not reaching out to that person, but not ignoring them completely if they reach out to you, depending on the context of their contact, if you like. So you said, "I tried texting her once in a while. I hung around her at school, and after telling her I would change if she and telling her that I would change if she gave me another chance." So you haven't really said in this email how long you guys were together as a couple, and you haven't said how old you both are, although you do say here that you hung around her at school. So I'm assuming that, you're pretty young being at school. And also, when it comes to relationships and breakups, the ages don't make a huge amount of difference. The general advice would apply to people in their teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, all that sort of thing. However, if you're in school and you're still young, there's good and bad points about that, and we'll go through that in a bit. So going back a bit, you say, "I tried texting her once in a while. I hung around her at school." So hanging around is not good. One of the biggest elements of her maybe changing her mind is that she needs to miss you and start to reconsider her decision. So it's hard for her to miss you if you're sort of hanging around her and stuff. You say, I hung around her at school, and after telling her that I would change if she gave me another chance, she told me that she has already given me at least 7 chances to change. I find that an odd statement because is she counting like I've given you 7 chances? Now, also, does that mean 7 chances, 7 different things, or is it one thing? Like, do you spend too much time playing video games, or like mistreating her, or something? What is it that she wants you to change? Because in relationships, there's got to be compromise, but I don't think you should, you don't have to go changing completely to try and please someone else. They need to accept you for who you are in a lot of ways. Sure, there could be some things that need adjusting or, compromise, like I said, but to constantly want someone to change, it's a bit of a big ask. I don't think you need to change who you are completely to please somebody else. And in a lot of ways, you won't be able to change completely either. So the other person needs to accept that and love you for who you are in a lot of ways. After the first week, I decided to really give her no contact, but it was hard because she was getting really close with this guy in our class and was using him as a coping method because he provided her comfort. Well, if she's using him as a coping um, mechanism and providing her comfort, well, that shows that she still has feelings for you. However, if she's sort of getting closer to this other guy, then that's going to seem probably, I don't know, more exciting to her or easier, I guess, that sort of thing. So whether it's a coping mechanism or not, or whether it's actually a new interest that she's got, only time will tell. I decided to message our mutual friend so I can vent and let out the emotions I've been bottling in. Good to vent to somebody, but the mutual friend not so sure about that because you go on to say here, after about 12 days of no contact, I found out that the friend has been talking to her about me and how I've been feeling about certain situations with her and the new guy. So, and that's the danger of venting to mutual friends, because whatever you say is pretty much going to go straight back to her. And at this stage, she's probably not really going to care too much how you feel about her and the new guy, um, because she's at this stage trying to break up with you. She's trying to justify the breakup, and she's not really going to, sorry to say, she's not really going to care too much what you think, especially if you're saying, "Oh, I'm upset about it," and all of this. It's only going to make you look sort of weaker in her eyes and push her further towards him. You go on to say she was getting mad that I was talking about them. So there you go. She's when that news got back to her, she's getting mad. But the thing is, anger is, if she's angry, that's okay because in some ways anger is still an attachment. In some ways, it's better than her going, well, I don't really care what he thinks, la la. But if she's angry about it, anger is an emotion and it's an emotion directed at you, which is still an attachment. Does that make sense? She was getting mad. I was talking about them, and the friend has been saying things to her that puts a really bad impression on me. So, what has he been saying that's put a really bad impression on you? She's under the assumption that I'm going to hurt her because he's been saying that he's afraid of me and afraid that I'm going to hurt her if I met with her in person. What does she mean by like hurt her, like physically? Um, Have you ever done anything that's sort of warranted that response? Have you ever been physical with her or grabbed her or hit her at all or anything like that? I sort of doubt it by the way that you're writing, but that's obviously you know, whether she's making that up or not, she's under the assumption that you're going to hurt her. That, and when you say that he's been saying he's afraid of me, do you mean the new guy? Um, and you know, why why should he be afraid of you? And afraid I'm going to hurt her if I met with her in person. Okay, so met with her in person. If you're going to the same school together, you're obviously going to see her around. But if you met with her in person, is it going to be possible to sort of get some distance between her? It sounds like you've got classes together as well, which is not, you know, it's going to be a bit difficult to be completely no contact, like disappear kind of thing. You say, which I said or did nothing for him to even assume that. Okay, so you don't really know why she's saying that. Could be just her way of justifying what she's done, and also that justifying her reasons for not wanting to meet up with you. As of now, it's been 7 days of actual radio silence, and I cut out the mutual friend. Okay, possibly don't need to cut out the mutual friend, but I wouldn't go discussing any more about her or the breakup with that friend. You could just say, yeah, I don't really want to talk about that anymore, and possibly talk to somebody else. The only person I'm somewhat in contact with related to her is her little brother that really looks up to me and I'm assuming still wants me around. I think that's fair enough. The little brother probably does like you and probably does still want you around. However, I wouldn't go staying in contact with him in an effort to get her back, if that makes sense. Um, I wouldn't go sort of telling him things that you hope are going to get back to her and that's going to make her change her mind. The better thing to do would be to distance yourself from the brother, and then he might actually take it upon himself to say to her, like, why have you done this, or what's going on, or something like that. My ex and I still have a vacation booked for July the 24th with mutual friends, and it seems like her and this guy are becoming even closer to each other with more interest. With the vacation, is the new guy involved in that? Is he one of the friends that's going on this vacation? Because if so, it's going to be difficult for you to go on that. It's July the 24th, so you've still got a few weeks. You might be feeling differently by then. So we could maybe talk about that further. And this guy and her are becoming even closer to each other with more interest. Okay, first question is, how do you know that? And secondly, if they're getting closer to each other, then he's more than just a source of comfort at the moment, or she's gravitating towards him in what could be classed as the honeymoon stage of a rebound relationship, because it looks like there's been a bit of crossover between this new guy and you. And the problem with that is when someone comes out of a relationship, basically goes straight into another one, then whatever issues they've had with you or within themselves, they take that into this new relationship. And also, there's a honeymoon stage. Once that starts to wear off, then she's also going to be doing this comparing him to you, and there'll be things that he does that she doesn't like, that you didn't do, and so that will make her think about you, if that makes any sense. Do you have any recommendations as to what I should be doing from this point forward to help get her back? Um, yes, and I'll say more about that in a minute. Um, Ever since the first week after I decided to give her space, I've been seeing a counsellor to work on the problems that have been occurring in our relationship, and I'm starting to really work on myself. Well, that's really great because breakups and times like this are a really good opportunity to do exactly that and have a bit of personal growth. And especially at a young age, you're very lucky to have these resources and to be learning this stuff at your age. Because the sooner you can sort of learn things like this, the more it will serve you sort of in the future and future relationships. The one thing I'll say with counselors is they're all different, and it's always good to shop around and find a good one. So if you feel this counsellor is good and understands you and stuff like that, then stick with that for sure. But you also don't want a counsellor that just sits there and agrees with everything that you say, because then there's sort of um, no sort of growth comes out of that. Having someone that just agrees with everything that you say. Any other advice will be much appreciated. La la la. Okay, so going back a little bit, do you have any recommendations as to what I should be doing from this point forward to help get her back? Well, going by the information in this initial email, the first thing that I will say is to try to stay away. Sorry, I've been eating some stuff here. Stay away as much as you can from their relationship. Like, don't go in there trying to break them up or beat him up, or try and badmouth him or her, or doing things like that to try and break them up, because that's only going to make you look worse, basically. Um, so that's the first thing, is to try to walk away from that situation the best you can. Now, I'm going to be honest here, because I don't like to bullshit people or anything, but the chances of reconciling relationships are quite low. It does happen, but it's more often than not that the relationship doesn't repair, especially in the short term. In some cases, the longer the time apart, the more chance you'll have of making it work in the long run. Um, a lot of couples, they'll break up and get back together within a few days or a week or two, only to sort of break up again a month down the track from that. And a lot of couples will keep doing that. I've seen couples breaking up and getting back together every few weeks for years, until it finally runs its course. So don't panic. Um, Try to sort of be as calm as you can. Be the bigger man. Stand up. Do keep seeing the counsellor. Also, try to focus on your schoolwork. Do well at that. Um, Start putting things into place that make your life look really, really good. Because most people, their life is not a fairy story, and they'll gravitate towards people that are happy and having a good life. So the better you can make your life on your own by yourself, the more attractive you'll be to her and to other girls um, as well. Um, Now, it's good that you've started to back away already, because that's going to give her a chance to sort of miss you, and you give her that space. Basically, what you're doing is you're respecting her decision. Okay, it's not what you wanted, but and sort of doing no contact and walking away, while there's no guarantee, it's pretty much widely accepted that it's the best way to handle a breakup. Certainly, doing any sort of begging or pleading or trying to break them up is the wrong thing to do and will work against you. So, and I just also want to say that in some ways, when an ex breaks up with us and goes into another relationship fairly instantly, like it looks like has happened here, that can actually work in your favor, because, as I say, at the moment for her and for him, it's really, really fresh. So it's easy and it's sort of exciting and it's new and all of that. But that's going to wear off. And that's when, if he starts making his own mistakes, that's when she might start to think about you and what you're up to and how you're doing and that sort of thing. And lastly, what's probably going to happen if you do sort of go, okay, and walk away from it and start to hang out with friends and build your own life, she probably is going to sort of start to notice that and, want to sort of see what you're up to or find out what you're up to. And the less information you can give her, the better, because that will create mystery, curiosity, and that sort of thing. And it will show that you're sort of moving on with your life. You're not relying on her. You're not sort of needing her, because all that stuff is very unattractive. And it will put you in a more of a one-up position. It's a very difficult situation, I know. It hurts. You also said here that things aren't that good at the moment. So it'd be interesting to know, like, how much it's affecting you. Is it making you really upset? Is it making it hard to concentrate on um, schoolwork? Thinking about her all the time. I've got some other videos on this channel about the rumination and the thinking about her, that sort of thing. So if we do some further coaching, we can maybe look at some things to help with that as well. So look, I hope that helps. Again, it's not easy, and it's not easy to see that person moving on with someone else. And as far as the vacation in July the 24th goes, I would probably see where things are at with you and between you and her in the next couple of weeks, before you decide whether or not you're going to go on that vacation with her and with friends. If you're still quite sort of thrown back by this breakup, it's going to be difficult for you to go on a vacation with her, unfortunately. All right. So look, I hope that helps. If you want to do a further follow up with that, the instructions will be in the email. But I do hope this helps. It's difficult to do, but in a lot of ways, that's probably the best way through it at this stage. All right, and so until then, take care of yourself and your health and your heart. We'll talk soon. This is just a couple of afterthoughts I had after I finished that video. I wanted to say a little bit more about the age you're at. It can work for you and against you. It can work for you because at this stage, you've got your whole life ahead of you, so it could be easier to recover than had you have spent 10 years with this person and had kids and property and all of that sort of thing together. So in that respect, it can be good, and it's also good for you to be learning this stuff at such an early age. The way it works against you is that at this age, relationships can be quite flighty. Um, Very unusual for people to marry the person that they were with in school. It does happen, but at this stage, people seem to be doing a lot more sort of exploring and that sort of thing. And attention and affection can be quite sort of scattered as you're sort of growing and hormones are growing and all of that sort of thing. And I also finally wanted to say that another thing, she might come to you and say, look, can we just be friends? And probably the best response would be not right at this stage, because it's not going to be authentic. I'm going to, I can't really be friends with you right now because I still want to be with you and be romantic with you. And so that's not really going to work for me. So maybe later down the track. Okay, so I hope that helps. Stay strong and take care of yourself.
Just don't give up. I am walking should breathe.